Hey there, I wanted to do a quick video to help you understand better what is a budget and how to create one. So in this week's lesson, actually it was last week's lesson, but we're grading it and you're getting your grades this week. So it's for week number 2, budgets and accountability. And I received from a very small handful of students some questions about the budget. You received, if you're one of the students in this group, you received a 15-point deduction because in the instructions you were asked to provide a budget. And I will tell you that the budget that I asked you to submit could have been a very simple budget. In fact, many students submitted a budget that was pretty much lame. But they did provide a budget, and if you received the 15-point deduction, it's because you just decided not to submit a budget. Now, what you probably did do, what most of you did, and you still got the deduction, is, let me show you. I'm going to open a plan in Write Capital, and this is Billy's plan. Now, if you're in Billy's, if you created your plan in Write Capital, you may notice that you have here expenses. And so what many folks did, what most folks did, is they showed me, which you were supposed to do this. You were supposed to show me your monthly expenses. And many of you did a detailed worksheet where you actually showed me the categories of your living expenses, and that is important, and that is something that you were instructed to do in the instructions. However, the handful of students who got the deduction were confused because they thought that by putting these expenses in to your assignment, you were including a budget. So what I want you to do is take a few minutes. I posted this, what is a budget and how to create one. Now, you could just Google this and get a really good answer. You could reach out to GroupMe and get some input from other students. But I would encourage you to do a little research. If you've never created a budget, I'm getting emails from you now asking for some guidance so that you can learn, so you can prepare and have better outcomes in this course throughout the rest of the semester. So I've posted some general information about what is a budget, how does it work, why is it important, even steps to create a budget. But again, if you're like me, you'd probably want to see it in a video. I listed also not only how a step-by-step how to create a budget, but I also included some tips, and this is one of my favorite, different tools that you can use that students are currently using to create a budget. Now, you were asked the very first week to commit to using an app to track your spending. So I want to kind of try to pull it all together for those of you who are still confused and still wondering what is a budget. If you check out some of these tools and start to use them, which again, you committed or you were supposed to commit to using a tool to track your spending through the entire semester. So you were instructed to do that, to select an app and to start using it right away, because whatever app you're going to use will track your spending, every penny of your spending. So if you use a debit card, let's say you're with Bank of America, that's a good app, use that. If you want to use Mint, Mint is a great tool. If you're not familiar with it, go to mint.com, learn how it works. It's the #1 choice, by the way. So there's mint.com. There's other sources like You Need a Budget. That's a cool tool. Every Dollar, that's another tool. All of these tools you can find online, and I learned about them typically from students who said, hey, this is what I'm going to use to track my spending, to create a budget. So you can do whatever you want. This assignment did not require you to go to a lot of great lengths to create a perfect budget. You were asked to create a simple budget, and you didn't do it, so you got a deduction, and that's why I'm making this video, to help you along and help you understand a few distinctions, like the difference between a budget, like these tools that I'm showing you right now, including Write Capital. the budget is different than your list of expenses. So now I want to jump back over here to this list of expenses. This is an important part of your financial plan, and you're going to be asked throughout the semester to focus on this list of expenses, because these expenses are what will drive the trajectory of your financial plan over your lifetime. So if you have pre-retirement expenses of $1,000 a month and you're making $100,000 a year, that's very, very inadequate in terms of expenses. So your financial plan and your capstone assignment and all of the assignments related to your financial plan throughout this semester will need this information to be up to date and accurate. So when I say this information, I'm talking about living expenses, and I'm talking about your financial plan, and I'm talking about the number that you put into this section, because that will feed into your financial plan. Now remember, you're being asked to project 10 years down the road. So these expenses that you put into your financial plan are based on your research for the expenses that you can plan to have in your life after you graduate, after you get a job, after you buy a house, buy a car, all of the things that you will do in your real life 10 years down the road. So this is research. Some of it is guesswork, but this is not your budget. This is just a list of expenses. So if we go to dashboard and budget, some of you chose to use Right Capital as your budget. And if that's the case, then you're creating a budget. You're taking the extra steps to use this tool, and that's fine. I don't care if you use this tool or any other tool. But if you told me you were using Right Capital as your budget and you gave me some screenshots of this budgeting tool as opposed to just the expenses, then you didn't get a deduction. If you did get a deduction, then I made a mistake. But if you put in the expenses and you just copied this screenshot for those expenses, and even though you did what I asked you to do by giving me detailed expenses, that's important. You need to do that. If you didn't do that, you will get deductions, because I'm going to ask for this. I'm going to ask you to show me this and update this section of your financial plan throughout the semester. So those are just two different things. So back to the post, all of these are different tools listed here, including Right Capital. You can use Right Capital, but it is, like I said, Right Capital has a budgeting component, but that's different than the expense data card that you need to be updating throughout the semester. So I hope this helps you clarify what is a budget. Now, I'm not showing you how to create a budget because, frankly, like I said when we did the lecture on budgeting, I don't care how you do your budget. I don't care what tools you use to track your spending. But you need to select a tool to track your spending by the penny, because we're going to do this assignment again at the end of this semester. And I want to be very clear. The expense sheet in your financial plan is part of your financial plan, but that's different than your actual spending. So your actual spending is real life using whatever tool, debit card, credit card, whatever tool you use, whatever, financial institution you use. I use a credit card. You probably use a debit card. But that's what you're going to want to use to track your spending throughout the semester. At the end of the semester, you're going to do another assignment very similar to this, and you're going to show me the transactions. There's three things in this coming assignment. Number one, you're going to show me each of the transactions to the penny of your spending, the spending that you tracked throughout the semester. Number two, you're going to show me a category list, like a graph, okay? Whatever tool you use, you'll be able to grab a graph. Whatever tool you use to track your spending, it will have a built-in graph, which breaks out your expenses by category, and that's what I'm going to be asking you for. Number three, I'm just going to ask you to tell me, what did you learn this semester about your spending. So the budgeting, the assignment for budgeting required you to create a simple budget. If you didn't do that, you should do that. If you got deductions, it's too late to earn those points back. But don't forget, if you fail to get this part of the assignment, if you're not tracking your spending, if you're not using a tool, a budgeting tool, a spending tracker tool, then you're going to have another opportunity to get some deductions, not only on the next assignment, but on your capstone assignment. So remember, in your financial plan in Right Capital, there's this section on expenses. It's under Profile and Expenses. That's different than Dashboard and Budget. That's different. You're welcome to use the budgeting tool in Right Capital. And if you're doing that, then this is where you want to grab your screenshots if you're using this tool for capturing your spending. But again, that's not required. That's optional. It's available. You're welcome to use it. This is not optional. Whoops. And it is required. And you'll need to be reviewing this. Let me try and... So under Profile Expenses, that's the data card that feeds into your financial plan, and it's very important. As we get closer to the end of the semester, you're going to be asked to give me lots of projections, and one of them is, how much money do you have at the end of your plan? And if you have a huge amount of money at the end of your plan, most likely it's because you don't have enough expenses built into your plan, and that'll become more relevant as we move forward. So thank you for watching this video. This video was for that small number of students who did not give me a budget in this week's assignment. It was in the instructions, and most of you gave me the expenses, but that's not the same as the budget. So I hope this helps. Again, if you have questions, I would encourage you to jump into GroupMe and ask some other students. We have a lot of accounting students in this course, and they have no problem with this assignment. They're super good at creating a budget. So I'm sure one of those students will help you if you need help. But again, a little research on your part would have made this assignment pretty easy. But by not turning in a budget, even a simple budget, you got some deduction points, 15 points deduction. So try and pay attention to those instructions and turn your assignments in early. Many of you missed the budget, and you got a note from me that said, you're missing the budget. And you redid it, you turned it in on time by Tuesday at 10 a.m., and you got the full 60 points. Small handful of you didn't do that, and you got deductions, and now I'm getting the emails, and that's why I'm creating this video. So please don't send me an email, try to ask me to, give you another chance. I'm giving you another chance for next time. Don't mess it up. Okay, thanks again. We'll see you next week in the Zoom meeting.